So today I'm going to show you something my sister and I used to do as kids. It uses basic supplies around the house. All you'll need are some crayons. Just make sure you have some black crayons because those are the key to this project. And then something to scratch into your paper with. Now this turns out really neat once it's done. I'm going to show you how to make a silhouette of an animal and then kind of just work with lines as we go through it. And it just turns out so nice, and let's get started. Now for this project, you're going to want to go through all of your crayons and find the best ones for this. Now there are some translucent crayons in a crayon box, and these are crayons that when you put them on the paper, you can actually see the paper through it still. So the crayons that I'm using right now are very translucent. They're pale also. These don't show up as well when you scrape off the black crayon later. So you want to find crayons that are more opaque. This means you cannot see the paper underneath. So this crayon that I'm using right now is a more opaque crayon. This blue one also is very opaque. It's a lot darker too, so go through your crayons and try to find the best ones. It's really important to always have references when you're about to draw or create something, because if we do not have a reference, our brain kind of makes up what we think we're drawing, and you just become an overall better artist when you're constantly looking at references. So I have a bunch of books with animals, and I think I decided on doing a frog because I wanted to practice drawing frogs. So using my reference, I'm actually going to create an outline of my frog or toad. I don't know which one it is, to be honest. So I'm just worried about the details on the outside, not the inside, because I'm going to be covering those up anyways. And then eventually I need to go in and erase all of my lines because they will show up when I scratch them off. Once I'm finished with my outline, I can go straight into coloring in my silhouette. So I wanted to plan out my colors a little bit, but you can cover your animal however you would like. The more color you have, the cooler it actually looks in the end. But I just wanted to try and see if this would make any difference in the end. Like I wanted to plan out where my eye went and where my highlights would go and some of my shadows would go. Now for the fun part, where we cover our entire creature with a black crayon. Now in order for this to work, you have to press down really hard. There will be some areas where the crayon won't cover up entirely, so it's not going to look bad in the end or anything like that because you're going to be scratching some of this away. You just want to try your best. Any of the areas that I had that didn't cover very well, I just went back over. Tinier details like the little toes to my frog/toad were really hard to do, so I just had to keep going in with a pointier black crayon to get those areas. In order to create the Sgraffito effect, we need a tool to be able to scrape into our surface to show the color underneath. And you can use tools that you find around your house. I'm using a mechanical pencil without the lead in it. And then I used a pen cap. And you can get some really neat lines with this. So when I take off the pen cap, I use one side to create wider lines, and then I can turn it to create thinner lines. Definitely don't stick with one tool because you want to be able to do all kinds of different line techniques with this. Toothpicks work really well, but they do break down a lot. A lot of people do have sewing needles at their house, so instead of using the sharp end of the sewing needle, you can use the part where the eye of the needle is at, and that'll work as well. So when you scrape away the surface of your creature, you're going to work with lines. So horizontal lines, vertical lines, hatching, cross-hatching lines. We're at the final part of this project, and this is the fun part, scraping away the black crayon to show the color underneath. Now, when I first started mine, I focused on the eye because the eye makes the piece, and then I worked on the belly, and my belly is the only different texture I really have for this project. Everything else I've used is hatching lines, but I'm going in and I'm just putting hatching lines following the form of my creature, so I'm making sure my lines are actually going into the right direction. And then in the end, I went back and pulled out my highlights.